What up, everybody? It's your boy DFS up north with another outright bets show for the Sharp app. If you are not a member or have you not signed up for the beta of the Sharp app yet, you can do so by clicking in the links below in the description. Get in there in the test flight beta run of the Sharp app to get access to all of the betting content. And you know what? There's not a lot to bet on this week. So guess what? We got the Open Championship, baby. The big one. I love this week. This is my favorite week of the year. I get to wake up. I get to have coffee. Half my bets are dead. I'm cheering on the other guys on TV. We get to see tons and tons and tons of shots live on TV because the coverage is not your typical American coverage that is terrible and relies on sponsors. And it is one of my favorite weeks of the year. I really do love it. And this week we get an excellent field with a fantastic course. I'm so excited about Royal St. George's. But before we get to Royal St. George's, let's talk a little bit about the JDC because, boys, we crushed. All right. So my total let me start with this. I always say week to week that your head-to-heads, your group bets, and your round bets are your bread and butter. This is where you are going to make your money. This is what's going to keep you afloat to let you get to those big outright wins. I haven't hit an outright win in 4 weeks. All right. 4 weeks of betting, 0 outright lately, or in the last 4 weeks since the Sharp app launched, 0 outrights. All right. But I'm up 7.09 units. Why? Because we've been crushing in the head-to-head and group and round bets. I've been playing a little bit more than what I normally do in that head-to-head and group bets, but that's because we've been crushing there. All right. So last week I think I went 4-1-1 on round bets for the week, or 5-1-1. Sorry, 7 round bets, went 5-1-1. Crushed on the week long head to head. The group bets we bet Seamus Power low European, cashed that, and we were up 6.22 units just on that. Then in the outright and place bets, didn't hit an outright, but crushed on some places, right? Had Hank Lebioda for a full unit to finish in the top 20, and he should have bet it for the top 5, would have had a much bigger week. But plus 0.85 units there. Total return for the week, 7.07, and over the last month, we are up 7.09 units. That is how you have to do it. It is a grind. You are maybe going to hit 2-3 outrights a year, unless you're betting tons and tons and tons of guys every week. So for me, that's how I do it. I bet 4 or 5 outright bets every week. I may add a live play, which I'm going to talk about here this week, as the week goes on. But you know, it's your head-to-head group round. That's your bread and butter. That's how you can make your money here in golf. All right, let's get to this week. We are playing at Royal St. George's. It is a par 70, 7189 yards. That is not very long, but it is going to play much longer. So let's talk about Royal. Let's talk about the course. All right. It is a golf course in the middle of a dune. All right. Or it's a dune with a golf course inside of it. All right. So a dune, if you're not familiar, is a very, sandy, high hills, rolling lands. Let's see if I don't know if I have a good picture of it on this one, but it's an interesting place to have a golf course, all right? Because you're not going to have a flat lie anywhere. Whether you're in the fairway, you're in the rough, you're in the green, the ball is going to be 3 inches below or 3 inches above your feet. And it makes it so that you can really, you really got to hit your spots out there. There's tight fairways in between these dunes. You really can't overpower this course, all right? The way that the fairways are cut is there's a lot of like forced carries where you're going to have fairway and then the fairway ends. You're going to have 70 yards of rough and then the green approach landing area, right? So if you get outside of that fairway, which on a lot of these holes, that's looking at like 325 yards, which A, most guys can fly it there. And B, if this course dries up over the week, which it should, we're going to see guys, land at 50 yards short of that and roll out into the crap. So you got to be really, really sharp off the tee. And then with your approach shot into these greens, if they dry, especially if they dry out, but even if we got tight shaved aprons, all right, hard greens, roll off the back, right, and then lots of undulation. So what we're going to see a lot of guys end up doing is they're going to land that ball 50 yards short of the green and try to run it up there. So you really got to play the ball on the ground here, which I love. I love playing golf like that, but it makes for a little bit of a trick in terms of how to handicap this course or how to handicap this field, try to find winners. It's tricky. There's lots of OB. Guys can, nobody's safe here, all right? As we've seen kind of over the years, we have, Thomas Bjorn blew it last time in 2011. Really, Darren Clark ended up winning. It was a great story. His wife had died. Comes back, wins his only major. Awesome. Smoked 48 heaters on the course. It was a great deal. But Thomas Bjorn really blew that a couple of holes earlier by bunker, over the bunker, chip back on, like struggled around the greens. In 1983, I believe it was, Tom Kite went bunker to bunker here on the 17th hole to lose the tournament. It's like there is no safe bets. Like I felt like last week at the John Deere Classic, I could start to tally up kind of where I was with guys having a couple of holes left. That's not going to be the case this week. There is going to be carnage out there. You know, if you've been watching golf for the last month and you've seen all these birdie fests, I think we're going to struggle to see an under, especially if the wind continues to look at like what it does on the weather forecast. We're going to struggle to see an under par winner here, maybe 3-4 under par, but we're going to see guys making doubles, triples. There's going to be big numbers. And if your guy makes a big number early on Thursday, don't panic. All right. Everybody's going to make a big number at some point. And really, it's going to be the guy who outlasts all the carnage or doesn't make that huge mistake that wins this golf tournament. That's kind of where I'm at. And that sort of has, permeated my betting strategy this week. All right. Typically, how you should allocate your money on golf bets weekly. I try to play 3 to 4 units, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on the tournament. 1 to 2 units on outrights, 1 to 1.5, units on 4-round head-to-head matchups. My daily head-to-head matchup, this is where I've actually been playing a little bit more. I've been playing almost 3 or 4 units on here lately, just because I felt like I've had a pretty good feel on it. This week, we're going to have less strokes gained data, so it's going to be tougher to make those decisions. And with just like the inherent carnage here, it's harder to predict. So I'll probably stick closer to that 1 to 1.5 daily head-to-head matchups. T5, T10, T20, 1 to 1.5 units. And then your first-round leader, group betting, exotics, things like that. Whether, nationality bets. This week, there's, made the cut, missed the cut, parlays, things like that you can do. So one, half unit to 1 unit on there. But, lately I've probably been around 4.5 to 5 units weekly, not trying to go too crazy here. So like I said, guys who make less mistakes is really kind of where I'm trying to go with my bets this week. So to start, we are starting with a guy that I think is very, very due. Hey, maybe he's got a little wedding swag. Either his game's going to be really good or really bad this week because of that. I don't know. He just got married. But I really like Xander Schauffele this week at 1,800 or plus 1,800. It was down to him. I was looking for a guy at the top that wasn't named John Ram. And plus 18 feels like a pretty good value here. I think that Xander's got decent history, 20th, 2nd, 41st in his 3 appearances. He's going back to a normal putter. He has been putting with the arm lock lately, so I'm excited to see him go back to that normal putter because he is a better putter like that. He's just so steady. Like I said, he doesn't make mistakes, and that's why he finds the top of the leaderboards in these majors all the time. And I think this is going to be a war of attrition this week. So Xander at 18, I think, is a really, really strong value. I'm going to put a half unit on this. I will not be. I'm not going to look for a place here. You could jump on the 10 top 10, but it's probably almost too tough for me to go there. At these short of odds, you're looking at like a plus 125 or a plus 150 for the top 10. Like there's just not enough value in that. So I'm gonna stick to the outright win here at plus 1,800. I love Xander this week. I think that he's a good course fit. He looked great at the Scottish Open last week, so he's got a week of this sort of golf under his belt. Pretty happy about that. I will say, all right, I talked about live ads. So a guy that I'm gonna look at to add live is John Rahm. So right now he's about 8 to 1 across the board. All right, that's just too short. I think he's gonna win. He's just been playing so good. He fell apart a little bit at the Scottish Open last weekend. So what I'm looking for or hoping for is that Rahm has a mediocre round 1, and then we can jump on at, like, let's say Rahm is 30th after round 1. That's the ideal scenario for me. If we can get him back at 14, 15, 16 to 1, somebody like DJ or Brooks or even Xander jumps up the board on round one leader, and we can get a Ram back a little bit at 15, 16, 17 to 1. That's where I want to jump in. All right. So that's my strategy heading into the week. If Ram wins coast to coast, always is 8 to 1 or better, so be it. I can eat that, right? But I'm looking to add, hopefully after a mediocre round 1, and get a little bit of John Ram on my card this week. everybody's favorite major player, Louis Oosthuizen. I mean, the guy just crushes at majors. He's a really strong value at 28-1, former Claret Jug winner. He was 54th, I believe, in his return. He was defending the 2010 championship in 2011 here. He's just so good at avoiding bogeys. He's one of the best putters in the field. Like, I don't know that putting's going to matter as much this week, but his short game's solid. Great tee to green. Doesn't miss a ton of fairways, except for when it matters in the Zurich Classic, and he screwed Charles and hit one into the water. But I really like Louis at 28-1. A plus 500 T5 bet is I'm going to go 0.3 units to return 1.5. I think that's a strong bet as well. It would just really, really surprise me this week if Louis wasn't in the mix at some point, and that's why I couldn't avoid him here at 28-1. Now we're going to get into some long shots, right? We had Darren Clark win here at 150s to 1. Ben Curtis won at a 500 to 1. I think this horse really suits longer shots. I love Kiz here, 90 to 1, 0.3 unit. I just love him anywhere you got to play the ball on the ground, right? He's had a ton of success in Austin at the match play, which actually plays a little bit similarly to a link style course, except in Texas. I do like him 91. He's just been really good lately. He's just been so solid. 4 straight made cuts at the Open. He was runner up in 2018. Puts himself in good positions off the tee, and he's one of the best scramblers in the field. So I'm going to get 0.3 units at 90 to 1, but this is honestly my favorite bet of the week, and I think you could bet this up to 2 units. I'm going to put it as an official play at plus 300, top 20, 1 full unit. I think there is just Kiz is going to be in the mix this week. He's so solid, like T20 all day at plus 300 all day. And if you wanted to keep, climb the ladder here on a T10, a T20, or a T5, like I don't mind that either. Next guy, super sneaky, right? Adam Scott. 110 to 1. This is a 0.3 unit bet for me. 25th here in 2011. He just hasn't played a ton. I think if he had played a little bit more, we haven't seen him since the Travelers. I think if he played a little bit more, we'd see this more in that 90 or 80 to 1 range. So we're getting some value. The guy, he's just such a strong iron player. He's long enough to take irons and 3 woods off the tee, which helps, right? His off the tee isn't great, but he's going to hit a few more fairways. His long irons are elite, and he's one of the best putters and has one of the best short games on tour. So I love Scott. Scott gets a bad rap as being a bad putter, but he's elite. So I love Scott. 110 to 1. I'm going to take a plus 800 unit or 0.4 unit bet for a T10. The guy just shows up in majors, and that's a solid value. One of the last guy on my card is going to be good old Dick Bland. So if you remember at the US Open, he kind of showed up out of nowhere, right? And crushed. He fell apart on Sunday, ended up finishing like 50th because he fell off the table. But the guy's been playing great. So he's 50th at the US Open, had this, collapse being in the final group in the lead, and then comes back out and he finishes 4th at the Irish Open and then 15th at the Scottish. So back-to-back weeks after the US Open, he comes out and finishes in top 15 twice. Now he's 250 to 1 at the US Open. This is I'm going to just throw a funsy 0.1 unit on Bland to win here at 250 to 1, but he's a much better T20 bet. Like, this guy is going to be in the mix. He can contend in these tough conditions. He's been tweeting this week about, hey, you got to hit fairways here. He's been very active on social media, which I kind of like. He's just at 650 to 1, plus 650, 6.5 to 1. Like, I love those odds on a T20 bet. This is a 0.5 unit official bet for me. I think you could bet this all the way up to 1 unit. But Dick Bland is going to be in the mix here. I love him. I think that he is a great bet this week, and also a great DFS play if that's your cup of tea. So again, my outright bets, I got Xander at 18 to 1, Louis at plus 2,800, Kiz at plus 9,000, 110 to 1, Adam Scott, and Richard Bland at 250 to 1. I do not have a top 5 or top 10 bet on Xander, but I got a T5 on Louis, T20 on Kiz, T10 on Scott, and a T20 on Bland. Remember, my favorite bet of the week is that Kevin Kisner T20, 1 unit to win 3 units. And let's keep this baby rolling, right? We're in the positives now. 7 units up. Let's keep her going here and keep the fire going. Again, if you have not downloaded the Sharp app beta, please do so that you can get access to not only my content, we got Cash the Flash. Stats just got off the fantasy trip with Busta Rhymes. He's pumping out content every day. So Anthony's got the menu going. Ryan's been crushing the horses. Like, you're missing out if you're not a member or not an early adopter of the Sharp app. All right. Have a good week, guys, and we'll see you later.